Hello, I'm Katie Kammler, MU Extension Horticulture Specialist, and today's topic is weed control in pumpkins. Pumpkins are one of my absolute favorite crops to grow, but weeds can be challenging. Why is weed control important? Here's an example of why it is important. So this is my pumpkin patch this year, and as you can see, there are weeds coming up around the pumpkins. And weeds compete with those pumpkins for nutrients, light, resources. They can also harbor insect pests that can cause problems. Also, those insects can carry diseases from that crop to another crop. Another example of why weed control is very important, you can see on the right that we have a very nice clean pumpkin patch, easier to get around in and to harvest, and lots of pumpkins to harvest. In the left-hand picture is also a pumpkin patch, but you kind of have to look really hard to see orange out there. It is amazing how much they actually have produced, even with the crop of weeds. However, harvest is a lot more difficult. Size of pumpkins isn't going to be the same. And also the maturity of the pumpkins is going to vary greatly depending on whether they were shaded out by the weeds. It is also, pumpkins are very popular for U-pick opportunities, and a weedy patch does not attract a clientele. They don't want to go out and experience agriculture that way. So what options do we have to control weeds? So tillage is an option. The picture I showed of my pumpkin patch earlier, that was a tillage that I planted seeds in. Hand pulling or hoeing on smaller scales can work along with tillage. And sometimes that's a good stress reliever to go out and get rid of some weed problems. Mulch is a good option. In that short video I showed of the weeds in my patch, you can actually see some straw. So I just had not received straw yet and had not gotten my patch mulched before the weeds started coming up. So mulch can work. And then no-till planting, which I'll show an example of later, which is actually combining almost a living mulch in with your planting. Crop rotation is extremely helpful for controlling weeds. It gives you different options to control some particularly problem weeds. And in pumpkins, we are lucky that we do have lots of pre-emergent and post-emergent herbicide options. So one thing to remember with pre-emergent herbicides is they typically require a certain amount of either rainfall or irrigation to make them activated. So you plan those around a weather forecast or the option of irrigating it to make those successful. We also have post-emergent applications of herbicides that can go over the top. And these two guides, the Midwest Vegetable Production Guide, and also this great guide from the University of Arkansas on comet cucurbit problems, have really good list of what options are out there for control. Some things to think about too with pumpkins is they are a vining crop. So when they are small, there's a pretty big row spacing. So there's lots of opportunities for weeds to grow in the center of those rows until the plants vine out. So that is weed control early is important. And it is also planning for that weed control throughout the season. So this is an example of no-till into a cover crop. So this was actually a wheat field where they harvested the wheat as the grain. They also harvested the straw, which is another great fall crop. And then they have actually transplanted pumpkins. You can see the rows just after these were transplanted. So that wheat stubble acts as a mulch, holds in moisture, and provides nice, clean pumpkins. So you can see here as they are growing. You also notice that there's about 5 rows, and then there's a wide spacing and another wide spacing. These are intentional spacings for drive rows to apply different pesticides through the growing season, whether that's insecticides to control insects or fungicides, or even the control of weeds with a herbicide. So lots of different options out there, but this is a high dollar crop and one that we do have good weed control options in. If you have any questions, please let us know. And as always, I love to talk about pumpkins and help you figure out your problems. Thank you.